Every volunteer organization runs on a single, strictly finite currency, the leader's time. Before you spend a single dollar on marketing, you have to account for the human energy required to execute it. This creates a punishing contradiction for local clubs. You need a constant influx of new, dues-paying members to keep the lights on, but the sheer logistical effort required to recruit them often exhausts the very few active leaders you actually have. The default reaction is to simply push harder, host more events, post more flyers, run more campaigns. That approach assumes your problem is a lack of awareness rather than a misallocation of your leader's energy. To fix this, we need an objective evaluation framework measuring membership tactics against volunteer burnout. The vertical axis represents conversion impact, the likelihood of yielding a dues-paying member. The horizontal axis represents the volunteer effort required to pull it off. And mapping our options here, we can answer the only question that matters. Where exactly should a time-poor, bandwidth-constrained club leader invest their next hour to guarantee the highest probability of gaining a new member? We start with passive digital hygiene. This means auditing your club's website and the Find a Club portal, the online directory where prospective guests search for local meetings. This funnel illustrates a devastating reality. According to recent surveys, 77% of prospective members drop out of the process entirely for one reason. They sent an inquiry email and the club never responded. Fixing this requires a specific low-friction input. A leader needs to dedicate 1 to 2 hours auditing contact information to ensure it is accurate, and then establish a strict protocol to answer every guest inquiry within 24 hours. The trade-off is clear. Digital hygiene does not generate new demand, but it perfectly captures high-intent traffic. People who have already decided they want to improve their skills and are actively looking for your group. When we plot digital hygiene on our framework, it lands clearly in the low-effort, low to medium conversion zone. Without mastering basic digital follow-up, the return on investment for any advanced marketing campaign is mathematically zero. You are pouring water into a bucket with no bottom. Next is social media and digital storytelling. The input here requires relentless consistency. Someone has to take photos of meetings, gather member testimonials, and post them regularly to local community groups and social platforms. The goal is to build community awareness. It provides social proof to prospective guests researching your club, showing them that your group is active, professional, and welcoming. But there is a major trade-off. This is a slow burn strategy. Organic social media traffic rarely converts into a physical visit unless you pair it with a highly specific, direct call to action. Returning to our chart, social media plots squarely in the medium effort, low conversion zone. It is a necessary tool for credibility and community building, but if you rely on it as your primary engine for immediate conversion, you will be disappointed. That brings us to sprint events. These are your large-scale open houses or structured programs like Speechcraft, a multi-session public speaking crash course designed for non-members. The logistical input here is massive. You're looking at weeks of coordination, securing speakers, managing budgets, and driving heavy promotion to make it happen. When executed correctly, the outcome is powerful. You pack a room with guests and manufacture a high-energy environment that clearly demonstrates exactly what your organization can do for them. But the trade-off carries severe risks. If your club fails to execute a hard ask for membership applications before the guests leave the room, your conversion rate plummets. You burn out your volunteers and completely lose your return on investment. On the matrix, sprint events lock into the high-effort, medium to high conversion territory. They are a high-stakes gamble. They only pay off if your leadership team has the operational discipline to close the deal on the night of the event. Finally, we evaluate the personal ask, often formalized by clubs as a +1 pledge. The logistical input is nearly zero. You simply challenge your existing members to personally invite one colleague, friend, or family member to a single meeting. This yields the highest conversion rate of any tactic because it entirely bypasses the friction and anxiety of joining a new group. It leverages pre-established personal trust. The hidden cost here is your members' social capital. People will refuse to invite their peers if your current meetings are disorganized, dull, or low quality. Looking at our chart, the personal ask is the gold standard. It sits perfectly in the low-effort, high-conversion zone. The highest ROI tactic requires almost no external marketing. It demands the absolute highest internal meeting quality to earn that referral in the first place. Now that we understand the tactics, the question shifts. When should a club actually deploy them? This flowchart is the Acquisition Priority Protocol, a diagnostic tool to prevent leaders from misallocating their time. It starts with one question. Is your email response time under 24 hours? If the answer is no, stop everything and fix your digital hygiene. If your response time is fast, you proceed to the next step. Are your meetings high energy and organized? If your meetings are weak, focus internally before you try to recruit. If your meetings are strong, you move to evaluate your bandwidth. Do you have 5 or more highly active officers? Here is where paths diverge. Time-poor clubs must rely exclusively on the +1 pledge. Only clubs with excess volunteer bandwidth should attempt the heavy lift of a sprint event. Copying another club's strategy without matching it to your own club's DNA and bandwidth is a recipe for inevitable burnout. The data reveals a clear philosophy. Marketing only gets a prospect in the door. The operational experience and the personal connection are what actually convert them into a member. Stop treating membership acquisition as an exhausting, one-off annual chore, and instead treat it as a continuous, low-friction operational habit. If you master the follow-up, run excellent meetings, and respect your volunteers' bandwidth, your club will inevitably scale and thrive. Expansion depends on structural integrity. By addressing the gaps in your own internal processes, you build the capacity for sustained growth.